Hey everybody, Ryan Mehalic here, and are you struggling to defend the ZOMG? Don't worry, I am too. It's the strongest balloon in BTD battles at the end of the day. But, how would you defend this ZOMG with the top 20 most popular strategies in the game? We will be answering that question in today's video, and if you enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button, as a small percentage of my viewers are actually subscribed. But without further ado, I'll catch y'all in the first way. Alright, so our first way we have here is Dartling Bomb, and if you want to do it with a boost, you've got to have 5 maulers. You use 1 mob assassin ability, you get up 2 impacts both on close, and you get up a cluster alongside of it. You want to make sure you boost right before the BFBs popped for the optimal efficiency, and that should be able to clean everything up pretty well. You keep some Dartlings alongside as well in case they send some camo ceramics. You should be able to deal with those on boost pretty well. Now, they're sending at you another one and you don't have boost anymore. What should you do? Use 1 more mob assassin ability. You want to get up 7 maulers now, so you can sell some of your impacts for those. And you're going to want to leave 1 impact behind and go for a 4th tier Dartling on the right side. Now the timing of the ability here is essential. Make sure you use your Hydropod's ability pretty much right when the stuff starts to pop into Moabs. And with that, it'll shoot out 100 rockets every time the ability activates, and you should be able to clean up all the balloons very easily. Next up's DFA. This one's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to keep it in because I'm trying to include pretty much the top 20 strategies that are most popular. So, DFA, you get up 10 darts. I like to put them on strong, just because it'll target the BFB layers. And you should use two fan clubs, and that should be enough. You pop all the BFBs down into Moabs, or even if the BFBs are still up but just really low on health, you'll be fine. And you just use a ground 0, and you'll be fine. So there you go. Next up, we have Dartling Glue, one of my favorite strategies, but defending ZOMGs is very difficult with the strategy. So you want to just spam a ton of 0-1 Dartlings. It's the most effective upgrade for popping down high ZOMG layers and everything. And you're going to also want to go for a 4th tier glue. You don't have to go for it at the very start because you only need the 4th tier glue for the mob layers and this all the balloons inside, so you can get that up towards the end of the ZOMG defend and focus your money on the Dartlings first to be most cost effective. But this first defend is going to be with a boost, so you want to make sure to time your boost correctly as well. So you're going to see when I boost here, pretty much after these BFBs are popped down a little bit, you want to boost, similar to when you would boost with Dartling Bomb. And you want to target your Dartlings on the mob layers for the most part. Now, one thing to note with glue is the glue lasts for 11 seconds. So it's very important to target your Dartlings away from the Moab whenever it gets unglued, so you don't pop into a bunch of ceramics that are unglued. Now here's a ZOMG we're going to defend without boost. In this case, you're going to have to spam a few more Dartlings down. It's not going to make that much of a difference, boost or without boost. You just got to have good targeting. And in my head, when I'm defending this, I'm counting down every time the glue counts for 11 seconds, because I know that if I pop all the mobs down into ceramics and it gets unglued at that moment, I'm going to be dead. So you need to be very conscious with the glue timing with this strategy. So you'll kind of see me target my Dartlings away here in a second. Right there, they get glued up again, and then I'll target them back on the mobs. So that's kind of what you have to do with this strategy. It's very easy to die stuff by accident if you have bad targeting and bad time, if you don't keep track of the time of the glue splatters. But yeah. The next strategy here is one of my favorites, Cobra Bomb Mortar. So the first way you can defend a ZOMG is with a quad misdirection. This is probably the ideal way in many circumstances, because you'll send 4 BFBs on their side as well. So I just use 1 mob assassin ability, and then of course you have all your Cobras on strong to pop the layer as well. So that should be able to help out pretty well. Unless they have a strategy like boat or something, the misdirected BFBs won't really do much. But against lots of strategies, it can be a pretty good counter push. So it's a good thing to keep in mind. However, the one downside of using this defensive strategy is if they follow up with all-out BFBs, you're not going to have a bunch of maulers down to defend that, and that could leave you susceptible. which is why I leave the second strategy to defend the ZOMG in here, which is just the classic strategy. This is the best way to defend an all-out if they follow up a ZOMG, which is spamming maulers down, and you're going to spam maulers down, get up a big one, use a few mortar stalls. This is kind of what you would do with this strategy if they all-outed you. So I use one mob assassin ability. I target all of my maulers on strong. You can get like 6 or 7 of them. And then I get up a big one as well. And you will see when I start to mortar stall, pretty much when they start to all blow up into mobs is when you kind of want to start to mortar stall. Mortar stall timing is everything. As you can see, target your big one a bit and you should be able to clean that up pretty easily. Next one is NFE. I'm not that experienced with this strategy. And defending ZOMGs is actually very costly with this strategy. So one of the main things you can do is you can use the Sabo glitch, which I'll talk about more in this video, where if you use the sabotage supply lines within 15 seconds of when you pop the ZOMG, it will last actually longer than 15 seconds because it lasts 15 seconds on every layer. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So I popped the ZOMG down around 10 seconds after I use the ability, and you can see the BFBs are still stalled, and I'll pop the BFBs down within 15 seconds, so now these mobs are still going to be stalled for 15 seconds as well. So if you can time your sabotage supply lines correctly, it can be used to the best of the ability. Obviously, it'd be best if you permastall the ZOMG, but that's risky, so this is probably the second best alternative, but there's the NFE defend. Next defend is with Heli Ice. It's actually pretty cost effective to defend a ZOMG with this strategy. All you need is one Heli. Now I wait for the ZOMG to pop into BFBs before I start my ice stall, and the reason behind that is because the ice stall only stalls 2 layers. So if I wait for it to pop, I'll be able to stall all the BFB and mob layers and won't have to use multiple ice stalls. So I think it's most cost effective that way. And then I'll get up an Arctic Wind in the back. And I get up two ice shards. You can probably honestly do with 1 ice shard. I just did 2 to be safe. And you want to target your heli behind the mobs, just because the ice shards are going to do all the work on the balloons. So you just want to focus on the mob and BFB layers here with your heli. And as you can see, the ice shards just go to work. You don't really need that second shards in the back, to be honest. I just got it up to be a little bit more safe. Next one here is Heli Village Sniper. I already had 2 sniper farms up, which you'll probably have on round 22 if you have this strategy. And to defend, I just got up this the second upgrade on the left hand side for the snipers, and I have them both on strong right now, and I target them both on first now, and this should be able to clean up pretty well. The heli does most of the work here, and the snipers kind of help out with all the BFB layers. But as you can see, it doesn't even get that close. If they send follow-up ZOMGs though, you might have to end up getting another heli here, because as you can see, the heli is already halfway through the map, and if they send another one, you'll kind of be chasing quite a bit. Next one here is NG Spec. So what you can do here is you can actually use a kind of slept-on upgrade on the engineer, which is the overclock ability. So you overclock your spike factory in the back. That goes to work. It's going to deal with pretty much all of the Moabs that come out of the ZOMG, and you're just going to need 2 spike storms. You want to spike storm pretty much right on the ZOMG, and it's best to do it around bins as well for maximum efficiency. So you can see there's spike storm number 1, and here is spike storm number 2, and the spike factory in the back will easily clean up with all of these Moabs that come out afterwards. It's not even close. Next strategy, we're going on to Area 52. This is probably the meta on Area 52. Wiz Village, you're going to want 8 Dragon's Breaths up. You can honestly go for Phoenixes, and it might be a little bit more cost effective, but I prefer to go for Dragon's Breaths because they're pretty much permanent defense. When people are going to send you early ZOMGs, they're probably going to send you multiple, and when you go for Phoenixes, you're going to have to constantly sell and rebuy for the ability back, as opposed to going for Dragon's Breaths where you're not going to have to constantly sell and rebuy and waste money that way. So that's kind of why I prefer to go for this. You want to boost pretty much when all the BFBs are pretty low, and you want to get up a Tempest Tornado as well for all the balloons, and that will be able to handle. Now, if you want to do this without a boost, you're going to need up about 3 more Dragon's Breaths, and you'll still have your Tempest Tornado, and that should be enough to handle pretty much. You want to target a few of your Dragon's Breaths on strong as well, but most of them on first for the most part. And yeah, that's enough to handle. So this is probably the best strategy on Area 52, I would say. You can just greed really hard with the wizard early game, and it's pretty hard for someone to deny your BIA. So yeah. Next strategy is one I've kind of started using a little bit more. It's pretty good. It's Dartling Ice. You want to stall that ZOMG right away. Spam a ton of 0-1 Dartlings, similar to Dartling Glue. And target it all on the ZOMG layer, obviously. Your goal here is to target all your Dartlings on the mob layers, and once it pops down into mobs once again, those mobs are going to be unstalled. So you want to use one more ice stall, and the ice shards will clean everything up at the end of it. So you don't even need to get a 3rd tier Dartling. The ice will be enough for all the balloons. You just need to get up a bunch of 0-1s for this defense. You'll kind of see what I do here with the ice stall and everything in a second. So as you can see, look, the BFBs are going to pop at different times, so I target my Dartlings at the one that's still left, and then I stall after all of them are popped, so all the mobs get slowed down at the same time. And then these ice shards will easily clean up, especially on a map like Area 52, where you have a nice wraparound, which is kind of why Dartling Ice is pretty decent on this map, I would say. The next strategy is one of my favorites, especially for Area 52. This is Dart Super. So if you want to defend with a boost, which is, I kind of recommend boosting against these. It's so much cheaper to defend with a boost than without one. You get up a fan club, and you get up like, I'd say 5 juggernauts to be safe. And you want to boost, you'll see when I boost, but you want to boost pretty much when the BFBs are low on health, kind of as I've said before with the other strategies. But yeah, you'll have to use the fan club a few times, so make sure you remember which monkey you upgraded to the fan club, so then you can sell that and rebuy it pretty quickly so you don't lose time on it. And that's able to clean up pretty well for a ZOMG on Area 52. Now, without a boost. Pretty much the same thing before. You don't need as many juggernauts anymore. You only need like 2 or so just for camo leads. You get up a Sun God as well, which is honestly similar price to a GZ in the first place. And after you get up, you'll just fan club a few times, and this will easily be able to clean up the whole ZOMG. It won't work on smaller maps, but I wouldn't recommend using Dart Super on pretty much any other map besides Area 52 in the first place. Next one is Tac Whiz. This is probably one of the most popular strategies on this map. Defending a ZOMG is actually very cheap, as you just need, the Maelstrom spots are extremely good, so you just need a few wizards and a few phoenixes just to pop the higher layers, and then you'll Maelstrom a few times, and that will be able to clean up everything pretty well, as you can see. I keep my wizards on strong for the most part as well, just so it can target the ZOMG to make it so the Maelstroms will do their work earlier on. A thing to note though is this defense can be pretty difficult if you do not have decent micro at the least. So as you can see, I just use about 5 Maelstroms, and that's easily enough to clean it up. Next one is, I had to include this for my boy Mr. No Monies. It's Ninja Mortar. Probably not honestly that good of a strategy, but you know I have to include it. So I'm going to do the same thing with my Sabo timing, where I'm going to use it within 15 seconds of when I pop the ZOMG layer down, as you can see. And you want about 6 Jitsus. I put them on strong, and then I'll target them to first later on. And you also want to get up a big one, but you don't need your big one up till towards the end. So the way you want to manage your money is spending the original money on a Sabo and Jitsus, and then later on, once all the mobs start to pop down, you get up your big one. So as you can see, I get up my big one now. After the BFBs start to pop, I put my ninjas on first, just so I don't pop all of them at the same exact time. And as you can see, the last set of mobs is actually sped up because that BFB was alive for longer than 15 seconds. So Sabo glitch actually did not work there. The next one is Ninja Ice. Someone in KOTH has been using this strategy recently, so I decided to include it. The way I defend here is I use an ice stall right away. That'll stall the BFB and ZOMG layer. And then I'm going to use the ninja stall starting on the BFB layer after it's within 15 seconds of being popped. You won't need a Arctic wind or anything because the Moabs will be stalled and so will the balloons. So the ice shards will be able to clean up everything pretty well without a boost or an Arctic wind, as you can see. So here in a second, I'm going to use my Sabotage Supply Lines ability. Kind of within a few seconds of when the BFBs are going to pop, as I said before. You still need to get your Flash Bomb back up because that's your only camo lead detection with this strategy. And then I'm going to get these ice shards up. And it looks a bit spooky, but the ice shards do so much work on this map that I'll be completely fine at the end of it. So a bit of the Moabs are actually unstalled again, so I actually use another Sabotage Supply Lines. But I'm completely fine at the end of this. It looks a bit spooky, but no issues here. So our next strategy in this way to pop a ZOMG is probably one of the easiest strategies once again. It's about Mortar, but I included this because I'm trying to include all of the popular strategies. So what you're going to want is like 4 or 5 destroyers. You can probably honestly do less, but this is probably safe against AI as well. And you're just going to keep those on stronger first. Those are going to pop down the ZOMG layer, and then you're going to just need 4 boat pulls. Pretty self-explanatory defend. Not that difficult. I don't really see why someone would send a ZOMG for Spoke Mortar, but it's always good to know how to defend it in the first place, especially if you're a newer player to the game. I personally like to place all 4 of the boats down first, just so it's easy to micro, because things can get pretty spooky if you end up popping one of the BFBs before you can boat pull it in time. So you want to make sure not to do that. Next one is my favorite eco strategy. It's Tac Village Ninja. You want to get up 4 Jitsu Ninjas. And same thing as I said before in this video, you want to time your salvo about 15 seconds or less before you think the ZOMG is going to pop to use it to the maximum efficiency. So that's what I will do here. And also you want to use a few Maelstroms as well, which will, on a map like this, they're so effective. They're going to pretty much deal with most of the BFB, Moab, and Balloon layers, only using 3 of them at the end of it. So you'll wait and see. But yeah, that's one reason why this strategy is so effective on this map, because the Maelstrom spot is just godly. So there's 1. It's a bit hard to place it though, which is the one issue. There's 2. And I tried to do it without a 3rd, but I actually had to use a 3rd, so I use it real quick right there, and that's easy cleanups. Next one is a strategy that my boy King BTD has kind of started popularizing, which is Heli Glue. It's actually extremely cheap, or pretty cheap to defend a ZOMG. You just need 1 Apache, and you're going to need a 4th tier glue, which, as I said before with Dartling Glue, you don't need to get it up right away. You can kind of wait until it's going to pop into BFB and Moab layers to get it up, since, again, the glue is not really doing much against the ZOMG. It's more so just a stall, and then you need it for all the Moabs and balloons later on. So you'll see I get it up later, which is a pretty nice thing to keep in mind because that saves you a bit of time to farm on in the midst of the ZOMG coming out before you have to get up the 4th tier glue. But this easily defends. It's not even that close. Just keep in mind the glue timing once again when you have a strategy like this, the 11 seconds timer for how long the glue lasts, as you don't want to pop stuff when it's unglued. But yeah, I'll catch y'all in the next strategy. So next one is Dartling Ninja, a strategy I kind of like to go on frozen here. I'm still learning a lot about it. I don't think it's that amazing of a strategy, but it's definitely decent. So you kind of want to do the same thing as I've said many times before in this video with the ninja stall. So as you can see, I'll use it here within 15 seconds of when the ZOMG will pop. So I use it. I get up a 4th Jitsu here with that money. And then I'm also going to get up a Hydropods. This Hydropods will actually be enough to pop a lot of the balloons, but you want to have decent targeting with it. So the best way to optimize the Hydropods targeting is aim it on like corners of the map where the explosion will have the best radius. So you'll kind of see what I do there. I try to keep it on that corner, where the explosion's hitting as many balloons as possible. And that's going to be able to clean up pretty much all the balloons. I have my ninjas on first now as well, just so I don't pop all the BFBs at the same exact time. This BFB becomes unstalled, and it gets pretty close to the end, but I actually don't end up leaking here, which is really nice. And that isn't able to defend. So next one is a Snowy Castle defend. This is a pretty new eco strategy. It's actually very good. So the first one is sub ice bomb. So the first way to defend a ZOMG with this strategy is pretty obvious. You just use the sub ability, but I honestly don't prefer defending this way. And the reason being, with eco you kind of want permanent defense. So I'd rather go for one mob assassin ability and spam some maulers down, as well as use an ice stall once it pops into BFBs. And the reason I prefer this way, even though it's more expensive, is you've got that permanent defense you can kind of keep with the maulers and the ice stall, which will kind of help you out for later rounds and later rushes, different from using a sub ability. So I definitely would prefer this method over the last, especially if you're going eco. And the final way, number 20 out of 20 for defending a ZOMG with another strategy, is with Cobra Wizard Ace, which is probably the meta in my opinion on A game. So you want to do is you want to go up your ODS, have your wizards on strong here, and you're going to use about 3 Phoenix abilities. You can probably do it with less, but I did 3 to be safe. And you'll use the Ground Zero ability once all the BFBs are low in health, or if you can pop them into Moabs. As you'll see, you can also sell your Phoenixes towards the end to forward the Ground Zero if you need to, which is what I do here. So there you go. There is 20 ways to defend a ZOMG in BTD battles. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want more content like this, hit that subscribe button with your forehead. Send me the forehead prints on Discord, link in the bio. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Ryan Mehalic out. Peace.